every living thing is always at a crossroads. But I want to put it in another way. Teachings of the Buddhist teachers all say that life is just at this moment of the present. It sounds, oh yeah, fine, yeah, sure. Sure. But what they mean is, there is only this moment of the present. There's nothing else. Everything else is a construction. And the construction is in our mind. Ah, yes. Sure. But they mean it. And although it's easy to hear it, it's very difficult to realize it. We can understand it, but we can't realize it because we're so used to our construction, our constructed world. And our constructed world is not just this moment, it's leading up to this moment and going forward from this moment. So that's very deep inside our cultures and inside our thinking. And it's almost impossible to throw it away. In fact, our mind cannot throw it away. However, we were talking this morning about Zazen. If you sit in Zazen and naturally let your body take the balanced posture, upright posture, then your busy thoughts in your mind will settle down. And you may experience this today, tomorrow, Sunday. Just something settling. I don't mean your mind becomes empty. Maybe it does for half an hour, 5 minutes. But simply that mental function becomes less central. So if our mental function is less central, what is central? Is it our body that's central? We usually think that our mind is the centre of everything. And our mind is me, I. And our mind, as we talked about, as I said this morning, gives instructions to parts of our body to do things. I am going to sit here straight. I am going to pick up this sheet of paper. So we learn and believe that I controls this. But when we sit in a posture which is called Zazen, and when we let our body and mind attain naturally upright posture, and our mind settles down, that construction, my mind, I, tell my body, disappears. So, okay, great. What's the point of that? Well, it's extremely valuable. It's actually the state which every athlete, every sports person seeks to maintain. Because if we can stop dividing something which we call ourselves into a mind that's controlling and a body that's doing, if we become one or whole, then we can act from a different place. again, sports is such a good example. Sports people don't want to act from their mind. Maybe they want to think with their mind about their action in detail before their actions. But when they're acting, they want to get rid of their thinking, or they want to make their thinking and their body one, because everybody experiences this. When we are whole or one, then we act from some other place. Where is that place? A place of wholeness. We could give many different names to it. We call it God, or the universe, or the flow, or wholeness, or intuition, or prajna, or all these labels. Because nobody knows what this place is that we act from. We experience it, everybody experiences it in their lives, sometimes, and then we lose it. We can call it essence. We lose that essence, and we end up trying to live from our head again. And when we live from our head, we're instructing ourselves from our head. Unfortunately, our head works with ideas, and ideas are always different to the real situation. Even we're very clever and very quick thinking, we make an idea of the situation, but before we act, the situation already changed. So we have to keep changing. But if we're very clever, we form very powerful ideas, and those ideas tend to be fixed for some time. We can't keep changing. So many of our problems are the result of our fixed ideas, because we have a very powerful brain which we want to put into action. And we all live like this. So then we find our idea doesn't work, so we change another idea, it doesn't work. Okay, this one worked. So again and again and again. But people noticed, particularly in sport or acting, moving, that acting from a different place to the ideas, to the mind, is more efficient and is more in tune with everything. So we can say that practicing Zazen, where we sit and our mind becomes quieter and our body becomes more integrated, so we become whole, is a wonderful way to live. But we can't live sitting on the cushion. However, if we practice Zazen often, for instance every day, that experience of integrating ourselves stays, because it's also physical. It's posture, muscles, it's nervous system, it's faith that we can act not from our ideas only. It's endomorphins and other substances in our bloodstream. It's very complex. But the change which happens to us when we practice Zazen stays for some time. Then we can get rid of it if we want to. We can get very excited or get drunk or something, and then we lose it. We change our physical state. But if we don't change it, but instead we re-establish it regularly, every day, we find that we can act from a place which is different to only thinking. I can't tell you what that place is, but you all know it, because a dancer knows it, a musician knows it. Everybody who does something with their body knows it. But we don't notice its value, because our culture values the head thinking. Head thinking is most important. So to trust something deeper than just our head is quite difficult. When I was a child, I was told by my teachers, think before you act. So think first, then you can act correctly. But that's not very realistic, actually. Of course, we do think and then act in our normal life. But we can also think-act. We can act from a different place. It doesn't mean our brain is not working. It doesn't mean our mind is empty. But we're acting from a place which is more whole. We're acting from our essence. In Buddhist teaching, this is called Buddha nature. So our essence is called Buddha, and Buddha nature is the nature of that. So there are many Buddhist words which stop us seeing something very simple, and that is that we have something. When we stop thinking, when we stop relying on our thinking for everything, there is something there. It may be the same as Christian people call following God. I don't know. But it works. Of course, it's difficult to live in society. Say, okay, I'm not going to think, just I'm going to act. But to be able to act from a different place, not to deny thinking or planning, but to give the thinking and planning not such a high priority. Put it here instead of here. And then act from something total. We can do that. And to practice finding that essence or that totality, we sit. We don't sit to make our mind empty. We don't sit to get some peaceful state. We sit to notice our essential nature. And our essential nature is underneath our thinking and underneath our physical sensation. So even if we're sitting in Zazen and our mind is full of thoughts and our knees are hurting, our essence, our basic nature is there underneath. So we don't have to try to stop thinking in satsang. We don't have to sit so peacefully that we have no pain, no thought. We just have to sit. Because when we sit, we are becoming whole. And when we practice becoming whole, it's easier to act from that place. And if we act from that place, life is more whole. In Buddhism, as I said, the teachers say that this moment is everything. There is nothing else. So at this moment, we act. We only act at this moment. We cannot act in the future. We cannot act in the past. Every action we do now creates future. I don't mean big action, like whether we make this plan or go to this place, but every action, moving our hands, listening, sleeping, every action we do takes place now. And if every action we do now is whole, which means it's not giving our mind priority, it's more spontaneous, then Buddhism says that's the best way to live. So whether that's true or not true, we have to find out. So we read about Buddhism, or somebody talks about it, and we practice satsang, and then it's necessary for us to try and test it and see, yeah, or not. And then we have to continue doing that for many, many years. My teacher used to say the present moment is like the edge of a razor blade, or the edge of a mountain, and we're always balanced on the top. And we can decide freely which decision to make. Not here, but from somewhere else. Many people think you can't make a decision from somewhere else. You can only make a decision here. But it's not true. Actually, neuroscience is finding that most of our decisions are not made here. But after we make the decision, our mind says, that was mine, that was me. But actually, we don't act from here always. So it's a way to live. It's a way to live from some not so intellectual, more integrated place. It doesn't mean our life will be better, more peaceful, worse, happier, richer, anything. It's just a way to live. So I would recommend it. So I stop. And please say something. The silence is full of people speaking.
Everybody agrees. Everybody's in flow.
Huh?
I came the last one, so I wanted to wait, but I waited. So I just wanted to ask the question that here are some people who are potential politicians, or they already are politicians. And it looks like being Buddhist is not a good combination with politics. But still we have to deal with power, not only in the case of politicians, but in our field of responsibilities. The power is quite often about influence, and it's quite often about conflict. I would love to know a little bit more about this. How is it with the power and Buddhism, with the influence and conflict and Buddhism?
Okay, well, I'm not experienced in that world of politics, but first of all, you can practice Zazen, but you don't need to say you're a Buddhist, because this practice of becoming whole does not belong to Buddhism. It belongs now, maybe hundreds of years ago, only Buddhist teaching had this, but now it's not only Buddhist teaching. You can find many teachers who don't say they're Buddhists who teach the same thing. So it's not necessary to be a politician and a Buddhist. You can just be politician. Power is very, very interesting subject. Power is always moving. There's an old Chinese story about a very powerful general, and people noticed he was very intuitive to follow power, right? And somebody asked him, this is a story, somebody asked him, how do you know what you should do? And he said, it's like I'm riding a horse. It's a very good horse. And when I feel with my knees the horse is going right, I say, we're going right. And when I feel the horse is going left, I say, oh, we're going left. And everybody thinks that I'm making the decision, but I'm following the horse. So I think that's true. People in positions of power are very intuitive at following power or following circumstances. Sometimes good, sometimes bad, because power doesn't have any distinction between good and bad. We can judge it. So all I can say is maybe intuition, maybe being integrated can help somebody to see where to go. If that person is seeking power, it teaches them where to find the power. It's a very simple answer. and maybe it's not realistic, but that's all I can say really.
And what about conflict? If you are meeting on the road another general and another horse?
Yeah. Oh, conflict?
Yeah.
Oh, you have to win. Most important. So then, if you're fighting somebody, you have to intuitively decide which is the powerful position. And it's very important. It might be a matter of living or dying. So how do you decide it? Well, I think if you look at history, powerful politicians, powerful generals, powerful leaders they don't sit down and think through everything. They have something else. They have also some feeling, some intuition. So people say they're leaders. So a leader is feeling the horse. That's all I can say.
But isn't politics ideally service to the public? It should be service, not like
I don't know,
becoming
Roman.
I
Ask
mean,
the politicians.
Ideally, how is it ideally?
I like your answer about conflict, that you have to win.
Yeah, you have to win, yeah.
Because, like, intuitively, what you can feel from practicing Zazen is that the winning is not the main priority.
It's true. And when you're fighting, winning is not the main priority. That's the way to win.
That's interesting.
If you're playing tennis and you want to win the stroke, you can't win when you want to win. You win when you want to make a perfect stroke.
Mm-hmm.
So to win a conflict is to act perfectly without wanting to win.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds crazy.
Yeah, but it makes sense.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to forget about winning in order to win. But you have to win. Most important.
Mm-hmm.
and Buddhist precepts do not mention anything about being a politician, right? There's nothing wrong with being a politician.
No, in the Chinese Buddhism, there are many stories of politicians.
Mm.
There's one story about a famous politician who practiced Zazen every day. It's in the Shobogenzo books. But practicing Zazen is an activity you can do. It's not part of a religion. And you don't have to connect it with anything. Just, I sit. We don't need to call it Zazen.
It's like going to gym.
Like going to the gym, yeah.
You can be a politician and go to the gym
Yeah,
and practice Zazen.
Yeah. secret gym.
Sitting gym.
But I think in the situation that you're in, Susanna, and other people, everything's unknown, and that's true of everything. Our lives are unknown. We think we know where we're going. We don't know where we're going. When we do something important and new, we realise, I don't know what I'm doing. This is new. I don't know where I'm going. So this is a tremendous opportunity to notice we're all like that. Everybody. Nobody knows where they're going. Just we tell ourselves a story. I know where I'm going. Tomorrow I'm going to be here, then next week I'm going there. But it's not true. But we need to tell ourselves a story to make ourselves feel secure. But in your situation, you really don't know what's going to happen. So it's fantastic adventure. It's like going to climb a mountain.
So we are
waters.
every day insecure.
Yeah. I climbed the mountains in the Himalaya, and nobody climbed before. So I'm in the snow at maybe 6,000 meters, and I don't know what's around the corner. So in that situation, it's very clear to me. I don't know what's happening. So I have to find a way to act in that situation, which works. And everything is the same. I noticed in mountaineering, you can notice the same thing in campaigning. This is new. Okay. So learn. And learning doesn't mean not making mistakes. Learning means acting. Not, oh, no, I better not do that, I'm afraid. I'm afraid, but I jump. Make sense?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So it seems crazy to say this very simple practice, which we call Zazen, but you can call anything, can teach us to integrate ourselves to face life. So we have to try it, and then if it works for us, then we start to believe it.
Is
So-
there, yeah, can I? Is
Yeah,
there
go.
anything else besides like sitting zazen and following precepts?
You don't need to follow the precepts. The precepts follow Zazen.
Alright, so is there anything else besides zazen to focus on?
Yeah. Eating, keeping healthy, not getting too stressed, following happiness, or following a good life. So if your job is very stressful, then don't follow a path of stress. So looking
What about
after,
politics?
yeah, but
We are exceptional. Yeah.
no, we
Yeah.
all put ourselves in stressful situations. But if you have a choice, this way or this way, choose the path which makes you more happy or more something fulfilled. That's all, really. Did you want something else?
Yeah, I meant like some people make emphasis on like trying to focus through daily life, or
Yeah,
like
I-
focus on the present moment or something.
Well, there's only the present moment, so to focus on the present moment is simply to concentrate on what is
On
here
given
now.
task. Yeah.
So if our mind is very powerful, it takes us away. So we can't stop our mind, and we need to be clever. But we shouldn't make clever here and everything else is below it. That's all. So we don't make our mind a priority. We say, okay, you're important, mind is important, but just stay there in the middle, please. Otherwise, the mind will take over our life, tell us what to do. And then we lose freedom. So to do what our mind wants us to do is not freedom. It's to follow intellect, to follow ideas is not freedom. There is no freedom in ideas. There is freedom in ideas if you sit in a chair and then you're free in your ideas. So ideas, you can go anywhere. So if somebody puts you in a prison and you can't move, then you can have some freedom inside your head. But while you're free in your head, your body is becoming very old and weak and hungry. But our society is, ideas are a priority in our culture, usually. So we all try to find something where ideas are not a priority. So we go to the gym, or we go running, or we have a dog. The dog doesn't have any priority for the ideas. So the dog teaches us. There may be other ways than Zazen, and we can find many activities which produce same wholeness. I don't know, I can't tell you if there are many other ways that are as good as Zazen, because I only found one way which suits me, and I did it for more than 40 years, and I learned that it works. Not perfectly, because the perfect is only in here. There is no perfect in this world. This world is perfect, but when we think perfect, it becomes an idea. Perfect partner, perfect life, perfect job. But actually, the world is perfect anyway. But a different kind of perfect. Not idea of perfect, but actual perfect. So a tree is perfect. A table is perfect. But because we have very powerful mind, we imagine perfect and we try to make things perfect. But it's impossible. But I feel when I'm talking like this, my words create images. So please throw away the images. Words in books and words from people teaching sound too beautiful. They create ideas which are too perfect, too beautiful. So beware, be careful of ideas. Don't throw them away, it's impossible, but be careful. book here is written by a colleague of mine, same teacher, and he writes about Buddhist teaching, but like punk. So very, very interesting, very straightforward. And if you read his book, you think, wow, I want to meet this guy. If you meet him, he's nothing like his book.
Much better.
If you read the book, you think, oh, he must, he's really figured out his life and he knows lots of things. And you meet this guy who's, have you met him, Roman?
Yeah, we met him in Frankfurt.
Yeah.
There was a retreat, and we went there with Pavel.
Yeah,
And Pavel told him, "Hello, we are Mike Luetchford's
Yeah.
students, and we would like to just
Yeah.
meet you and say hello."
Yeah.
And I had the same impression that after reading some of his books, I was shocked how shy and quiet he is. Always somewhere in the crowd. You almost cannot find him in the crowd.
yeah,
So he's like anti-teacher because he's like, when he teaches, he's like, "I'm sorry, I'm not sure what I should say."
yeah,
And when he swears, when he says four-letter words,
yeah.
it sounds like he's talking about flowers. He's like, shit, it's like,
But so the point is, this is powerful ideas. There are many, many young people who think that these books are terrific. He's written 6 books. They are terrific, but they're not him. They're his ideas. Don't mistake the two. Nice guy. I was best man at his wedding.
really?
Yeah.
Robert, pamiętasz coś, kiedy kończy to oko?
Kończy.
Kończy.
I've started reading a new book by Shohaku Okumura, I think
Yeah.
is his name. And it's like commentary on some, what is it? Maybe Dogens?
Yeah.
I don't know what exactly, but
Sansui
poems, I think. Some poems or something.
Ah, yes.
Commentary on
Yeah.
some poems. And I don't understand a word of it.
Oh,
Because it's English, okay, but the commentary is like, like any Zen book,
oh,
basically.
okay.
And it's really frustrating,
Okay.
so I stopped reading.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, practice doesn't.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. We don't have to read everything.
Yeah, sure.
Talking about power, this is my feeling. If you look at Japanese martial arts, it's very clear some things, because Japanese martial arts are very pure in some way. So if you look at karate or judo, you can notice the power moves from one to the other all the time. So I suppose this is true of every situation, that power doesn't stay with one person. If you look, for instance, at the war in Europe, Russia, Germany, UK, France, and so on, if you read the history, you can see the power moved. Now the power's here, now the power's here. So, if you want to follow power, you can't always keep it yourself. But when you've got it, you can act. And when you haven't got it, don't act. This is how I feel. So, like the general with his horse, follow this situation. Shall I stop? Go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.